I'm Bob the Cigar Guy. This is Traveler's Rest, South Carolina, and it is time for Camacho Presents I Got the Smokes, Let's Ride podcast with me, BTCG. That's right. Keep it at 10 and 2 unless you're smoking a cigar, and then swap hands while you puffy. Drive safe, drive safe, drive safe. It is 5 o'clock on Friday. I think I got that button. Hang on. Nope. There we go. We hit the button that says the same thing that I just said, but sounds a lot better. Be careful driving home because you are precious cargo, and we need you here next week and every day in between, not just for me, not because I need the views. I really, really do, but because you make the world a better place, and there are people who love you. Oh, they do. They need you. Oh, they do, and you need them as well. So what the world needs now is you, sweet you. It's the only thing that how do I mess that up without saying doo-doo? Doo-doo, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. No. Okay. Anyway, but I'm excited. This is episode 33. I'm excited. 33. That's pretty dang cool. Right? We've gone 33 straight. You've actually gone a little more than that, but once we really kicked off, we did the pre-trial of whether we were going to do it or not. And so it's 5 or 6 episodes. And then we kicked into, we're trying to hit 52 straight. That's right, 33. This is right before the Connecticut Barn Smoker. And so I am doing the video post Barn Smoker, getting a couple ahead so that I guarantee I don't miss, because I'm going to be extremely tired. And when I get back to work, they're going to work me hard. I'm going to put in tons of hours, and I don't want to minimize that valuable content that I try to provide for you. And I'm going to smoke this limited edition 2025 Camacho today, but I thought, and I do it okay. All right. If you don't know this, people who do professional podcasts, people who do professional speaking, public speaking, people who do professional videos and shows, they have vocal coaches. They have voice coaches. They have all sorts of people that help them sound good so that they can be marketable, right? Especially in the podcast experience, because a true podcast does not have video. So you are just relying on the audio, right? So the audio better be great. It doesn't matter what you're wearing. It matters what you're saying and how you sound. One of the people that I wish I could ascribe to be like is Mike Rowe. He's got a podcast. I forget exactly what it's called, but if you do micro podcast, it's amazing. It's short stories that you listen and you're engaged and entertained, and then all of a sudden at the end they give you a reveal, like people fighting in a bear pit and all this other stuff, and you're thinking these are savages, and kind of find out it was Abraham Lincoln, or the guy who landed the plane in the Hudson, whatever that guy's name is. It'll come to me after a while and I won't need it. But he was in the bottom of the belly of an airplane, and he was like a tail gunner thing. He had to get a ride, and they stuffed him in that hole because there was nowhere else to put him. So they put him in the tail gunner spot. And when the plane was landing, the plane didn't have any wheels on the way to land, and it would have scraped him as to just catch up on the runway. And they figured out how to fix it and save it. And from that time on, he became, they saved him. They didn't turn him into ketchup, of course. And then he comes back, and it just tells these great stories, fantastic things. But Mike Rowe has such control of his voice and the way he presents emotions through the things he says, through the change in his tones, to the pauses, the space that he does in this. And I ain't spending money on a vocal coach. Channel can't afford that. We don't make no money worth talking about. The money goes back in the channel and buying videos and cameras and paying subscriptions for all this and that and the other. And then we get this audio stuff. I mean, we upgrade when we can, but I'm not going to say, Chief, you know what? I want to spend $5,000 on getting a vocal coach so I can learn how to sound better. Chief's going to be like, you sound all right to me. And you know what? If Chief came to me and said that, I'd be like, boy, you sound all right to me. Right. But YouTube's free, right? YouTube shorts are quick and easy. And so there are vocal coaches that come on and give you free little tidbits. You don't get the whole class, you get little bits of it. And so I've been learning from that. And there are vocal exercises, the me, moo, moo, ma, ma, mo, mo. No, that's just stupid. I mean, I shouldn't have said that. It is valuable. It is. People, scientists have figured out that that warms up your vocals so that everything is ready to go and you're not straining muscles and wearing things out because you have to put in tons of hours doing vocal for the year to make a living. So you don't want to tear up your tools, right? And it warms them up so that you come out ready to go, right? Everything is firing on all cylinders. And I'm not doing that, but I do something every time I put the headset on. Every time. And I think a majority of it is because I just like it. It just sounds cool in the headphones because I sound different in the headphones than I do even in watching the videos back when I'm doing editing. I really, really like it. And I do it every time. And so I thought I would do this with you so that you can know that this video starts off stupid before I turn the video on. Every time. Every time. And I usually do it twice because my ADD, OCD, PCD, alphabet soup, whatever it is, I can't stand odd numbers. Threes I like, fives I like, 11s I like. But that was because I played Little League Baseball. My number was 11. And I said, well, 11 is number one twice and better than a 10. And so 11 is a number I really care for. Sevens, I like sevens. But I mean, really, I'm much more into even numbers. Even when I eat things, if I have a little bowl of cookies, I said a bowl, and I'm eating cookies, and I end up with 7 cookies. I don't want to eat 7 cookies. I want to eat 8 because I don't want to eat 6. There's a cookie there, right? So I worked this stupid workaround. You're learning stupid stuff about Bob today. That's what this show should be called. Dumb things that the Bob the Cigar Guy does. He's a goober, but all right. So I know if you're me adjacent, kind of like me, but not as full blown me as me. Like, okay, we'll break the last cookie in half, and then that's 8 pieces of cookie, right? 7, break one in half, makes 8, right? Right. And that's part of it. But if I break the cookie in half, which I don't eat cookies unless they're big cookies in multiple bites, right? I don't bite them 3 or 4 times to put the whole dang cookie in my mouth like Oreo or something like that. But anyway, if I just break it in half, that's still one cookie because that's half adjacent, right? It's right next to each other. So when I count them, I do count, and when I get there, I'll get to 5 or 6, the 5th or 4th or 5th cookie. I will break one of the cookies in half, and I will eat that half, and then I can eat the next half and count it as a whole cookie. I'm telling you, it's dumb. Eating as a whole cookie at cookie number 7 or cookie number 8 because they didn't touch, right? The last cookie I put in my mouth was not the other half of the cookie that I just put in my mouth because that would be a joint cookie, right? A bite cookie. It's stupid, right? It is so dumb. It is so dumb. I know, and I do it. And you don't know I do it. I count steps. I do. You won't notice. You'll never notice. I count steps. Put me in an old bathroom at like old anchor chain store in the mall where they had the little bitty square tiles and they're like 3 or 4 different colors. I have to look for patterns. I will spend an extra 10 minutes in the bathroom trying to find patterns where those those tile sets they don't people don't lay individual little bitty square tiles. They come on a sheet. You lay the whole sheet down and then you line them up, right? And so I look to see where the sheets are. And then once I figure out what the sheet is, I'm so dumb. Once I look where the sheet is, I will figure out what the pattern is and I will look around and I will say, oh, was this a good craftsman or not? Did they lay all the patterns in the same direction or did they just throw them in there wherever? I'm that guy. I am. And then I'll even take it further if I ain't got nothing to do. And I will look around the areas where they tie it into the wall and I will find out which wall did they start off first and work their way to which end and what do they do around the corner of the toilet fixture, what do they do around the corner of the stall door, and I know it's ridiculous. I'll even break it down to how thick was the gap between the 2 stones, between the 2 tiles, and then how big is the tile, and then what percentage of grout to tile is there. So if I'm laying 100 square feet of tile, how many square feet of of grout do I need to make up that space? And I will sit there and I will do that. I know, Rain Man right here. Just don't have Tom Hanks and Dustin Hoffman playing me. It's crazy. But back to what I was saying, the vocal thing every single week, every single video, I will do this. Be prepared. I cover your children's ears because the singing is awful, but it's what I do every time. And I'll do it twice. And I'm going to do it twice because if not, I'd have to wait till the video was over and then I'd have to do it again. And then I would just feel like a real hayseed. So be prepared to go through this suffering with me. Are you ready? Here we go. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be purple, I could be hurtful, I could be anything you like. That's right. That silly video that I love so much. I do love that video, by the way. But here we go one more time. I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be purple, I could be hurtful, I could be anything you like. I guarantee that probably hurts your ears, but to me it just resonates because these headphones make you sound better. It's like the mirror in the mall that makes you look thinner. These headphones make me sound better. And this cigar, this Camacho 2025 limited edition, allows me the opportunity to what? Live life bold. That's right. While we're in here, let's click this on because I wrote it. I ought to say it. You smoke cigars? Light up a Camacho, a Davidoff, a Zeno, an Avo, or a what? Tell me. You've been here. You know. Baccarat. That's right. And I still need to get some. Why not? Why not? So, this is an unscripted show. We're 11 minutes and 45 seconds in, and we have talked about nothing at all. And you're still here. God, I love you. We are of one mind, and you probably are using it because there's not much going on inside my head other than tiles and this and that and the other. But if you look at my toolboxes, they are aligned perfectly. Everything is perfect. When you go to the shop where I work at the plant where I work at, you look at my tool table, my stuff is all laid out and it's all perfect. I know exactly where it is. Part of that is because if I'm laying on the ground under a car and I need whatever tool I need off my little rolly cart, I don't want to have to get up because I'm old and I look like a turtle upside down. And I don't want to have to get up to get back down, to get up to get back down. So I know where it is on the cart, so I can just stick my hand up there and I can grab it. But my toolboxes are perfect. My tool cabinets are phenomenal, but so much of my stuff is a mess. If you looked around my desk, you're like, this dude is in chaos. Did a hurricane hit this place? But I know where everything is. I do. And if you touch my stuff, I will know. If you ever come to the studio, do not come around saying, I'm going to see if Bob knows it. I'm going to move all the stuff. Don't do that because then I will be in a tizzy thinking I lost something or something like that. But hopefully one day you'll say, hey, I want to go down to Travelers Rest, South Carolina and go meet Chief and maybe even see Bob. Chief's much better person to meet than me, but I'd love to hang out. We're in South Carolina. Let's stop in and say hey, and we will welcome you with open arms and open humidors. We will open up some cigars. We will smoke some cigars. We got some adult spirits over there, and Dr. Pepper and Diet Pepsi and water in the fridge at all times. We hang out. Give us a little bit of notice. Let us make sure somebody's here, and we will be happy to have you here. And when you do, we'll get you to sign our 2x4. We have a shelf that goes all the way around this room. And on that shelf, there's all sorts of people who have signed their name to say that they've been here. And so when I'm sitting here and I'm feeling blue and I'm feeling like I have no influence and I'm not making a difference, I don't need to be an influencer, but I would like what I do to make a difference in people's lives. I really would. That's really our goal. My goal, Chief's goal, First Lady's goal. And so when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling like it's not making any traction, I try not to parallel myself to anybody else, but why are these people getting so many more views, so many more subscribers? Why are they moving so farther and faster than we are? And that's defeating. And then I check myself and I look up at the wall and I'm like, these people chose to spend a minute with me. They chose to say, you know what, he's worth me coming down and hanging out with. And that makes things so much better. I try, and I highly recommend that you try to be in competition every day in everything you do. You should be a fierce competitor, and you should be upset if you didn't win. You're like, Bob, that doesn't sound like you. Well, it does when I finish the statement. I'm pulling the micro style, telling you the meat but I'm going to give you the final so it'll all tie in. The only person you should compete against is yourself of yesterday. If you do better than you did yesterday, you're on the path to being just exactly what you should be. But there are days when you will not win. You don't always win. If you win every time, it's not a competition, right? So it's okay to have a day where you aren't at your best. Shake it off. Tomorrow's a new day. We've run that long enough. I do love the edging, the border, the Camacho logos and stuff. Chief came up with this in a heartbeat, which would have taken me days. Um, and I love it. I love the blue. We've got a blue one. We got a black and white banded one, and I love the blue better. So I put that up there a lot. But hopefully, I'll get Chief after barn smokers happen, because right now it's crazy. It is a full bore, wide open 5 alarm fire. I get him to make me some more so we can put up different ones. I'm really looking forward to being able to swap some things around and all that. So I am smoking that Camacho 2025 limited edition, and I'm wearing my Zeno hat. Right? What does it say? Live life from A to Z. That's right. It's the Zeno tobacco cupcake law reams. Got that big yellow bus with the little yellow trailer, and he takes a party oasis with him all over the country. That man grinds like gears with no oil. I'm telling you, he's an amazing fella. If you see him, give him a hug, tell him I love him. Be ready for a great hug, because he hugs well. He does. So what I want to get into next. Well, before I do that, I hope you had a great week. I hope your week was fantastic, was phenomenal, was wonderful. I hope you feel fulfilled in your job, and I hope you feel fulfilled in life. And I hope that you had things and responsibilities you needed to do, but they weren't overwhelming. I hope you had time to take a pause in a moment for yourself. I hope you feel at balance and at peace. It doesn't always happen, but I hope this week was that, and I hope next week is too. Now, this is Friday. It's time to get off and start your vacation for 2 days, the weekend, right? I hope you do the tasks you need to do, but I hope you also carve out the tasks that need to be done, and that's taking care of yourself. Self care is very important. It's not selfish, it's self care. Take those moments, take those pauses, or do something that makes you even more tired, but makes you feel at peace and at rest. For me, that's things like building things. I will fire up a forge at extreme temperatures out in the South Carolina heat. I'll pull out my anvil and set it up with my big vise, my big leg vise. And I'll pull out a myriad of hammers and pieces of steel, and I will take and put that joker in the fire and get it red hot, light my cigar off of it. Man, I love doing that. Can't be more American than when you light your cigar off a glowing piece of steel. It's so good. Don't tell me it's not good for me. I don't want to hear it. It that little bit goes away. I don't care. And I will take and I will wear my shoulder and my back out by swinging that hammer as hard as I can and try to make something. And the goal is to make something nice, but that is not the end goal. The end goal is that I made something, is that I was out there. And when I'm sitting there and I'm hitting that hammer on that soft steel that's nice and warm and malleable, and I hear the ring on the anvil, that ding, 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 ding. I feel it in my shoulders, and I feel it tighten up in my back and on the side of my neck. I just feel at peace. I can do some thinking when that happens. Welding, I'll do the same thing. I'll get some metal together and I'll have that slag popping off on my shirts. I have it roll down into my shoe, and it will get hot, and I will be looking through that little window and get myself all sweaty and uncomfortable, and I will just be at peace. For me personally, I just need a little chaos to be at peace. Now, there's also the times when I can sit on the couch with the first lady, and instead of sitting in the recliners on each end, we're sitting next to each other, and we're just kind of leaning in there and just being and just relaxing. Man, that's my peace as well. But it's a different peace. I need a little bit of both. I do. So I hope that whatever your peace vehicle is, that you choose to get in that vehicle and take it for a ride, because you need some. Boy, howdy, that was a good illustration. I like that. The peace vehicle. Get in and take a ride for a while. The road trip of peace. I like that. Wow. Thanks, Unscripted. Because if I had it scripted, then I would not have said that. Of course, unscripted don't always go well because we talk about flicking boogers on things and stuff that probably nobody wants to watch. And probably if I had a script and probably if I had a this and that more people would watch. But you know what? This is part of my piece. Getting to sit here and talk to you and hang out with you is valuable to me. It gives me purpose. And sometimes it's hard to get in here and carve out this time. It's an hour video, and then it's an hour editing, and then it's an hour posting. That's 3 hours. And sometimes I don't have those 3 hours, or I'm pushing the edge on those 3 hours. And then I've got all the other videos I'm doing. And so sometimes it gets to be tough, but I'm always glad that I took the opportunity to do it. I am, because this is not a one-way street. Even though I'm producing content, I'm looking at a little square camera in front of me on the computer, and I don't have interaction with you, and you get to see me. And so you're thinking you as the person get to consume all this content. And so you're taking and I'm giving. Well, you know what? It works both ways because I get to give with a purpose, which feeds me, and you get to receive. And hopefully it benefits you as well. So we're both coming up to the table and getting fed. We're both riding that peace vehicle. That's right. Mine's going to be a little bit bigger because I don't fit in the small one, but maybe yours is a Lamborghini Bugatti. Mine's an old busted truck, probably. Maybe a moped. I'd be a sight on a moped, wouldn't I? Yes, I would. With one of those little white helmets with no visor. Yeah, can you see that? I can see that. I thought I have a point I want to get to, but I want to run this rabbit real quick. I thought a while back that I would get a moped. Now in South Carolina, if you get too many DUIs, which one is too many DUIs, but if you get too many DUIs deemed by the state of South Carolina, you still have to get to work. You still have to pay all your fees and fines and stuff like that. So they want to make sure you have a job. And so they let you get a moped with a license to let you go to work and back. And so most of our mopeds are either people that don't have licenses or are young kids. And so they're riding mopeds. And I'm like, well, I don't want to ride a moped because they will think I have a DUI. And they'll see me out on the street and they're like, oh, that boy drinks, doesn't he? He drinks way too much. He is not in control of his facilities, his faculties. And so I thought that if I was going to do that, I was going to get a bunch of T-shirts that printed says, I'm not drunk, I'm broke. I just never did it. That was one of the T-shirts that I always wanted to do. There's another T-shirt that I wanted to do, but I thought it would be mean and I thought it could hurt people. Because if somebody's going through this struggle, then it should not be made fun of publicly like that. And it was going to be a shirt that said, I'm beating anorexia one bite at a time because I'm a big guy, right? Anorexia is an eating disorder where people choose not to eat because they have body dysmorphism or other issues of control in their life. They have no control, so they choose to make that control, or they just don't want to take care of themselves. So I chose not to do that, but I did always think that would be a funny T-shirt for the individual, but I thought it might cause harm. Out of all the many jobs I had, I've worked psych, criminal psych, I've worked violent psych, I've worked children, adolescent psych, I've worked substance abuse, I've worked women's units, I've worked geriatric psych. And in the women's units and the children's unit, there's a lot of eating disorder issues. And that really opened my eyes to the struggle and the suffering and the burden that those individuals had to fight with between their ears. And it's very overwhelming when everything inside your head tells you one thing and it's not good for you. It's hard to listen to somebody else telling you another thing, because even if they stay with you 24/7, they're not in your head every second, every minute. And you have to deal with the fight in your head. And so I just chose not to do that shirt, but I did think about doing that shirt. So I was talking to, here's the thing I want to talk about. I don't scripts, but I have ideas of things that I'd like to that have just impacted me that I want to share. with this very, very precious time I have with you. You choose to spend time with me. I want to make sure that I do the best I can to give you something, maybe a laugh, maybe a smile, maybe something to think about, maybe a purpose, maybe a cause, just maybe a chance to smoke a cigar and watch me. Maybe a chance to help work out that burrito, you know, maybe 2 burritos because this is an hour long show. So I was talking with somebody who was in a relationship to where they have surrendered their value. My friend has surrendered their value. And they they don't want to be alone. And the fact that they don't want to be alone and they're a helper. They find puppies, they find causes, they find broken people, and they pour into them and pour into them. And by doing that, that nobody pours back into them because they surround themselves with people who need gimme, 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 gimme. And it's part of their life. It's an important part of their life. Because we should help people that have need, but we need that balance. Because if all you're doing is giving and nothing's giving back to you, your vessel gets empty and you have nothing to pour out for yourself or anybody else. But they're surrounding themselves with relationships of people that this person gives themselves to this person that they want a relationship with financially, emotionally, time wise, resource wise, physically wise. They give all of themselves, and that person that receives it takes all of it and then goes to other people and takes theirs too. Then goes to other people and takes theirs too. And the thing about that is, if you're playing with toys, you have your old favorite toy, but when Christmas comes around, you got the new toy. You forget about the old favorite toy because the new one's bright and shiny. May not be as good as that toy that you love and you like, but it's new. You're going to play with it. So this person, the taker, will just ghost them and lie and leave. And the other person is like, well, I'm just going to take whatever they give me and that's it. And they have this emotional issue, and then their self-worth and their value drops. And anybody who's looking to them for guidance sees, well, this person allows people to treat him like crap. I guess I should allow people to treat me like crap. Or the flip side, this person's good and this is all they need. So I'm going to be a person that takes from nice people and takes from other nice people. I'm just going to keep taking from everybody. And that's not good. It's not good either way. So it can be a generational issue. And so I've learned that sometimes a conversation in my life that I needed to hear, that I wasn't ready to, was told to me by somebody that was trying to pour into me, and I just wasn't ready to hear it. And years down the road, the conversation will pop up in my mind, and I can see what they were saying and can apply it to my life then. I'll still have the consequences, I still have the scars, but I will be able to move in a different direction. And so I was hoping that this conversation, my hope is this conversation will make them say, you know what, you're right. I'm gonna cut that off. I'm gonna find people that will pour into me as well as I pour into them, and I will wait for somebody that is worth it. But that's not what happened. They heard me, but they weren't able to apply that stuff. And I decided to say, well, let me give you a parallel. I do a lot of that. I know that. I know that I use a lot of parallels. I use a lot of examples because somebody might not hear just the words, but if you paint them a picture where they're not the focus, that maybe they can see something and they can glean the information out of that. That's my hope. But that is my style. Storytelling is my style. I wish I was better at it. I wish I could tell better stories, but storytelling is my style. And so I said, I get it. I do get it. I've been through times like that in my life on both ends of the spectrum, to be honest. I've been the giver and I've been the taker, sadly. And so I said, okay, I get it. Just recently in, what was it, Texas, there was that flood and all these people got washed away in the flood. I mean, the wall of water. I mean, everybody said the wall started off as 3 feet and it was a 30-foot wall of water. And I'm sitting there going, no, 30-foot wall of water. There's no way there's a 30-foot wall of water. And then me not knowing the landscape of the area, I was like, well, it's probably two mountains. It drops down into a valley, and that's why it's tight. And so it is going to only affect a very small area. Well, I saw some videos, and it was a 3-foot wall of water that came through, and then behind it came a honest to God 30-foot wall of water, and it looked like it was going through a tight channel, and then the channel let loose. And so this water built up, and it literally flooded almost instantly. Cars were backing up at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour, half a mile away from this thing as the wall of water was coming at them. They were literally, and I was sitting there, I watched it 50 times, watching different cars going, go, 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 go. Dude, stop hitting the brakes. Stop hitting the brakes. You're stopping these other people from backing up. Dude, stop, get out of the way, get out of the way. And I mean, I just watched their life unfurl, and I hoped every last one of them made it. And I know that probably all of them didn't, but that the houses, first floor was flooded, second floor was flooded, third floor was flooded. You couldn't see the roof of a 3-story building all of a sudden. And it was instant. And it affected me. And so that was fresh on my mind. And it's fresh on everybody's mind. You all know about it. And so I said, I get it. You're minding your own business, living your life, and there's a 30-foot wall of water coming your way. You get swept away in a flood. And it's throwing you around, and you're getting tired of swimming, and the thing that floats by you is a 55-gallon drum that says toxic waste, radioactive material. But you're going to drown, and it's floating. And so you get over to it and you grab it and you hang on for dear life. Because if not, you're going to drown. Better in your mind, the thought is right then, it would be mine. Better to have consequences later than to have no more consequences. Right? And I said, but here's the problem. When you grab onto that toxic barrel and you hang on to it, I held out both my arms. I said, you have held on to this thing. And now you can't reach out to catch a refrigerator floating by. And that refrigerator doesn't have the same long-term exposure and consequences as a toxic barrel. But because your hands are full, there's no way that you can reach and grab it. Sometimes the flood comes and you got to grab onto something. But you have to say, okay, I've taken enough breath. I've got enough strength. I can go a little bit longer. I'm going to let go of this, which is slowly killing me, and find something that's not going to kill me at all, hopefully. I'm going to dive into the water again and let go and hope that something better comes along. And that's the thing. Hope. Because when you've got a sure thing that's killing you slowly, you've got something. And if you let go, nothing else may come along. if you don't let go, there's no chance of you not having consequences that is going to ruin and shorten your life. And so then I looked at the person and I wanted to drive this home. They were listening, they were hearing me. They were receiving the message. And I said, when you get into a relationship with somebody and you reach out and you grab onto them knowing that they're not valuing you, they don't care about you, that they are destroying your insides, but they're just a body there, so you're not going through life alone. You've wrapped your arms around that relationship. You cannot open your arms to something else that's good for you. The hardest thing for me to do is wait. Sometimes waiting is what you have to do. And so in a flood, you can't take swim lessons. The problem with illustrations and stories is that they never balance out perfectly. The ones that Jesus said in the Bible balance out perfectly, but I am not Jesus. Jesus got it down pat, right? I mean, he's Jesus. My stories have holes. They're not perfect. No matter how hard I try, they're not perfect. You can't take swim lessons in a flood. That'd be stupid. No, how do you sign up? Where's the clipboard? It floated away. If clipboard floated away, you can hang on the clipboard and float for a little bit. But anyway, you can take during that time of pause when you've left that toxic barrel of things that are killing you to better yourself, to get help, to get counseling, to deal with the issues that you have that cause you to surround yourself with those people, to find out that, you know what, you are enough. And it's not as perfect as having somebody partner alongside you. But you know what? You can live a great life fulfilled with who you are. And then, amazingly, when you get your stuff together, when you get your everything together, when you're able to receive a blessing because your mindset is set on a blessing, blessings show up. I'll tell you that for sure. And I bet if you thought in your life, you would find those same situations to where, why didn't this come to me such and such and so and so? Because you had to go through such and so to be able to recognize what it is, to be prepared for it. Right? Driving a car is a blessing. Think if you had to walk everywhere. Oh my gosh, you get nothing done. You'd be walking all the time. Driving a car is a blessing. It gets you from place to place much, much faster, right? You got air conditioning, you got radio, you got comfortable seats, you ain't got to even wear shoes. I wear shoes. I would not drive without shoes, but you can have a soda in the cooler, you can have in the cup holder, you can have a snack, you can don't get on your phone. It's a blessing if you're ready for it. What if when you graduated kindergarten at the age of 5, because they all have these kindergarten graduations now, they gave you the keys to the car? You're not ready to drive. You ain't going nowhere. Even if your feet can fit the pedals, you're gonna run into a wall, right? You're gonna wreck. You don't understand all the responsibility that comes with that blessing. So you have to season, you have to learn, you have to train, you have to be prepared, you have to get your mind straight. You have to understand why a red light is important. Just because I don't want to, I want to get there faster, so I don't run the red. I'm going to run the red light. Well, you need to understand the value in a red light, right? So, with that being said, I believe that blessings, good things come into your life at the wrong time when you're not ready to receive them, aren't good things. You're not ready for them. So maybe, just maybe, you have to go through some stuff to build the muscles to be able to shoulder that blessing and have that blessing be a blessing. What do you think? I would love. I mean, I'm out here on the end of the board. What do you think? Am I making sense? Am I just rambling on for an hour? Is is there a flaw in my thought process? Am I wrong? I would love to know. If you've been through these experiences or going through these experiences, and you need to just vomit out a comment and just share. You got a Facebook name or whatever YouTube name, and it's probably not your name, so anybody gonna know who you are. Go ahead and use this as a space to to unload some stuff. I don't know the answers, but I care. I spent my life, most of my life, I was picked on as a kid. I was picked on not only by the bullies, but by the kids were getting picked on by bullies because if they picked on me as well, then the bullies would think they're cool and leave them alone and they would pick on me. So I was picked on mercilessly. I was. There was a time when um, I was in second grade. It's funny how that this stupid stuff stays with you forever. And all right, I want to be transparent. My mom, we were broke. We were poor. We were pretty bad off when I was a kid. And we had food. We never had to worry about having a house not to stay in, but we did not. I couldn't say, Mom, can I have 25 cents to ride the horse with the little car or whatever outside the grocery store because we didn't have the money. So I was told we ain't got the money for that. Right. We ate all the generic brand food most of the time. You know, we hustled. And so I was tough on clothes and I was a big boy and I grew a lot. And so when my mom would buy me underwear for the year, you know, Christmas, you get underwears and socks, she would buy them 2 or 3 sizes too big. And back then you didn't have the fancy underwear, right? You just had regular old white underwear. You even had to apply your own brown stripe over the years. Anyway. Sorry. That tickled me. I probably shouldn't have said that. Anyway, they were big and they were bunchy. And my clothes were usually bigger size than they needed to be so that I could stay in them longer. The knees had patches in them because I wore the knees out. And and so my underwear would bunch up in the back of my pants. And me being a non social kid, I didn't think about it. And so if my underwear was bothering me, I'd grab the back of my pants and I'd kind of pinch the underwear and pull it down so it wasn't bunched up in my butt, right? To be honest. And so I was a big kid, but I wasn't a strong kid. I was just a chunky kid. Think of what's his name doing the truffle shuffle on Goonies. And so I was an easy target. And so one of the big bullies, one of the super bullies of the school, started calling me Pick, Pick, because I pick it out of my butt. And then it became ridiculous. Everybody called me Pick. And then it went from Pick to Stinky and Dirty and Pigpen from Peanuts, right? Which I was clean. It was just an easy segue. I mean, mom back then, mom made you get a bath every night whether you need it or not. And it was just that I was mercilessly attacked. And then the kids that were being picked on would pick on me because the bullies would leave them alone if I was getting picked on. Hurt people hurt people. So I got out of elementary school. I'd ride my bike home and bullies would wait and they'd beat me up on the way home. My sister had to run home and get my mom half the time because it was bad. I'd take different avenues, trying to get home, trying to sneak home. I'd stay late or I'd try to get out early, be the first one on my bike so I could get away from them. And it was bad. Um, my mom was a thug when she came up, and so but she let my dad be my dad. And my dad basically told me that, well, if you just ball up in a ball and don't fight back, eventually they'll get bored with fighting you and they won't fight you anymore. That was the mindset. Not casting shade on my dad. That was just who he was. And so fifth grade went, sixth grade, seventh grade came through, and then I got into a fight. I'll never forget. I'm going home. This kid said he was going to fight me, and he was one of the kids that were bullying some, but being bullied by others. And he had a troubled life. I didn't know that. You don't know the battles these other people are going through, but he he would he said we're going to fight, and he made a big deal about it. Like an after school special, and so everybody showed up for the fight right off school campus. I tried to get away, but they blocked my bike. I had to fight. And so he pushed me over my bike. My bike was laying there and I had my arms out. I said, look, dude, we don't need to fight. This is ridiculous. Let's not fight. I was trying to talk my way out of it. And he pushed me over the bike, and the pedals, the trap pedals, and hard metal pedals, all the spikes went in my back, and it made me mad. And I got really, really mad. And I got up and I went at him and I cussed him, which I didn't cuss. And it felt weird doing, but it felt good at the same time, to be honest. And I cussed him, and he went to hit me, and he hit me in my chest. And at that point, for whatever reason, something clicked, and I said, this doesn't hurt. And I was shocked. And he went to hit me again. He wasn't the biggest boy, but he was all right. He hit me in my arm. It stung a little bit, but it didn't hurt. And I'm sitting there thinking in my head, all this stuff's going through my head in the middle of this fight. People are screaming, fight, 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 fight. And in my head, I'm all by myself going, this doesn't hurt that dang bad. Why have I been running all this time? And I'm sitting there having a whole conversation with myself about why am I running all this time? Blah, 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 blah. This is not that bad. All right. Hitting me doesn't hurt. I wonder if it hurts to hit somebody else. And I proceeded to draw back, and I clocked this kid for all he was worth. And it was like a movie. He stumbled, staggered back, swayed, fell down. He got back up, cussing and yelling, and he got up and he stumbled and he was swaggering left and right. It felt like Clint Eastwood any which way but loose fighting those people. And he got up, and at that point, the inside of me all said, "Oh, do it again. Do it again. Let's see what happens." And I proceeded to pummel this kid. There was a switch that shifted that said, you know what? I don't have to be picked on anymore. I'm going to pick on everybody else. And so that was seventh, eighth grade. I started working into it seventh and eighth grade, got a reputation, got to high school. The biggest bully started to mess with me, and he went to hit me, and it didn't hurt that bad. And I pummeled him. I got lucky. He slipped. But then everybody knew. And so then I became the guy that started to have a little gang. I figured out that all these hurt people, all these nerds, all these band geeks, all these other ones that don't fight, they're not the pretty people, they're not the jocks, they're not the brains, they're not this and that. It's a whole bunch more than there are of whole bunch more of the regular people than there are of everybody else. And so I decided to champion those people, not for the purpose of doing good, but for the purpose of I could build an army and I could take over the school. And that's exactly what I did. Me and some other fellers, we got together and we had a crew, and the crew got bigger, and we became those protectors. And it was like organized crime, for God's sakes. And I caused a lot of pain. And in doing that, then you get attention from the fair sex. And then I would try to take everything I could from the fair sex, not because I wanted to give them a great life and I wanted to give them fulfillment and this and that. I just wanted to take everything I could. That was awful. It was awful. Then I got the Marines. They gave me a whole new tool set, and they cut me loose on the world. I want to be famous. I got in a business, hot rod custom business. I had to get in magazines with my cars. I did. I did. I excelled at everything. But it was all about me. And a big part of it was the first lady come in my life, which I didn't get in life with the first lady for the right reasons either. Luckily, she was patient enough to stay around till I could figure it out. And my life changed. And now I'm looking at opportunities to use those skills that I built for me to share with others. I used to be really good at talking somebody into something. I could talk you into about anything, but the things I talked you into, the end result was for my betterment. The end result was for my gain. What was I going to get from you by doing this? And it never felt good, but I just kept doing it. Now in my life, in the recent past, the past 10, 12, 15, 20 years, I look for opportunities to pour into people with nothing in return. Now, I understand that I said in the beginning of this that I give to you, but I get back. It gives me purpose. It gives me fulfillment. It gives me meaning. So this is a two-way street, and I'm not minimizing that, but I look for opportunities to make a difference in people's lives and the blessings, all the blessings. Which, if they would have came to me at that time, I would have just ruined them. I would have just wasted them. I would have put no value on them other than their whatever value they had as something I can consume. Now, I see it as opportunities to bless somebody else. We started the Bob the Cigar Guy channel literally by trying to help protest the FDA by doing something that was not for my gain. It was helping other people, and it was committing and being a part of something. And now look where we are. You're sitting here. We got stuff. I understand I have a wall of cigars behind me. I got a studio. I got computers. I got audio. We're gonna take a trip to Connecticut. We're gonna go to Florida. We went to New Orleans this year, right? I got all sorts of cool stuff. I got more stuff than most people could ever use. But that's not that's not the value. The value is you. The value is you're here. The value is maybe, just maybe, in my goofy, stupid, broken, low valued self, I may say something at a moment in your life that may have value. And I'm going to be honest. If I had to choose between that opportunity and all the stuff I've amassed in here and all the travel that I have planned, take you every day. The old me that wasn't ready to receive these blessings would have never made that decision. It would have never been even a thought. Now, this story, which being that transparent is uncomfortable because this is now out there and it can be used against me. It can be embarrassing. Did you know Bob? Da, 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 da? Did you know Bob? Da, da, you think he's so good? You think he's so nice? You think he's so this? You think he's so that? He ain't all this. He was that. I could actually have somebody come up to me or in one of these keyboard warriors start calling me pick in these comments. And I'd like to say it wouldn't bother me at all, but it will. But I'm not going to let it. But maybe, just maybe, you experienced something like that in your life, whether you're on the giver side or the taker side. And it didn't give you any answers, but it let you know that you weren't by yourself. Blessings are not just for you. You're supposed to do something with them. There's a purpose beyond you. They are for you, but they're not just for you. For instance, I collect silver eagles. I'm not a prepper, but I collect silver eagles because eventually I want to leave them for the kids or whatever. You know, I just want to have stuff, I mean, you hear all the stuff on the news that we can end up going to a cashless society and this and that, and then they could shut off your money. And I just like having it, right? I do. And I keep cash. I do. Because if all the power goes out and the computers quit working, I can still pay for gas. We had a big storm here, and that's exactly what happened. And I was able to help out the whole family by saying, look, I'll pay for dinner because they're open, but the computers don't work. I pay cash. I got cash. Kids needed gas. Here, put some gas in your car. I had that. Even though they had money, they couldn't access it. And so I have silver and I have cash. And that cash has no value until I use it. Yes, it has value. Yes, I told you my stories aren't perfect, but what I'm saying is you don't get to realize the value until you use it. That's a better phrase. That's a much better way of saying it. I wish I would have said that first. You don't realize the value until you use it. So these blessings come to you and you use them for your peace, for your growth, for your security, for your safety, for this and that. But there's also something you need to do with every last great thing that comes to you for somebody else with no reward expected. Now be balanced. Don't give somebody something that they don't need and then they become dependent on you. That's not a good thing. It doesn't help them grow because they need to move through to get to their blessings. You deserve great blessings. You deserve a great life. You deserve fulfillment. You deserve love and purpose. You do. And there are many things that are going to try to stop you from that. This person is going through the struggle that I talked about earlier. I've started to believe, have not started, have dove into believing the lies that they are not good enough, that they will never get anything better, and that they must settle and just deal with it. And it's because of them that they're treated that way. It's because of who they are, the core of themselves, they're treated that way. They're not worthy. Not true. That's because of them that they are treated that way, because you are treated habitually in a way because you allow it. So if you're going through a time where you have a toxic relationship, you're in a toxic relationship, you're hanging onto that radioactive barrel, and you need to let go for a while, I highly recommend that you start taking steps to take care of yourself. See a counselor. Talk to a trusted friend. Read and research. If you have faith, get in your Bible. Read. Go to places where people pour into you and allow them to. And I have a lot more to talk about. I do, but we're out of time. And so maybe this is enough of this food to chew for a while. I kind of went off on the darker end. I don't know why. I guess it's because of that conversation I just had just recently that really made me feel like I needed to talk about it. And I didn't mean to, but I guess I unburdened some of my stuff, and I apologize for that. You didn't come here for that, but I hope it made a difference. The next video we do, which I won't shoot it for 2 or 3 weeks, I'll make sure I watch fun videos before I shoot this video. I'll find some silly, stupid things so that we'll have some fun, because we need balance, right? Now, if you're in the driveway, and the car shut off, and you're listening to this thing, thank you, but God dog it, get in that house. Life starts where? On the other side of that car door. Open it, get out, shut it, and open the door to your vehicle of peace. And that's those people in that house that love you and that you love. Get in there, recharge your batteries, take a break. And if smoking cigars is one of the things that give you peace, choose to take the time and smoke a great cigar. And I highly recommend this Camacho 2025 limited edition, or Davidoff, or Avo, or Zeno, Nicaragua, maybe even a Baccarat. That's right. Get you one of them. Try you one of them. Tell me how they are, because I've only had a couple. I need to get some. I really, really do. Thank you, Camacho, for giving us this opportunity. Giving me this opportunity to share. It's a blessing. That's for sure. And you're a blessing. Not by what you do, but by who you are. I mean that. I mean it when I say I love you. I'll see you later. Later, Tater.